you mentioned earlier after Red's first question, Ambassador, that this trip of Admiral Paparo here to the Philippines, which is the second since he has been appointed, it's mostly a reassurance type of trip. And I think a lot of Filipinos are actually looking for certainty, for assurances coming from the United States, at least with their promises in terms of military aid. I know you already said it earlier, but can we really be reassured that things will progress as if there has been no change in that?
What other reassurance can you have when you have all this attention being given to the Philippines by Secretary Marco Rubio, Secretary Hegseth calling their counterparts, and now Admiral Paparo coming to the Philippines, and then we have, of course, the meeting that we had at the White House. It's not really, like I said, assurance is not the right word. It is the fact that this is a continuing relationship that's been around for a very long time, and dealing with the new administration of President Trump is just as good as any other relationship that we've had in the past, even when we had major challenges during the time of President Duterte.
I guess it's the assurance, I guess, is President Trump himself mentioning the Indo-Pacific. So far, he hasn't. Yes, I get your point. Secretary Manuel has met with Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference, and the two talked about deeper cooperation. You're also right. Secretary Pete Hegseth has spoken to Secretary Teodoro, but the one person who hasn't actually mentioned Indo-Pacific is President Trump himself, and that's, I suppose, what Sean was alluding to.
Well, you can interpret it in any way you want to do it, but I'm the ambassador in Washington, D.C. What else am I going to tell you? Would you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or I'm just telling you what my experience is? And I'm telling you that I know that it's in good shape. But if you want to insist on your idea, then what can I do?
Okay. But the high-level visits that you talked about, the ones that the high-level officers that are coming this way potentially in the next few months, are they just within the realm of defense, or are we also talking economic officers?
No, of course, everything is included. Economic and defense are two important aspects of our relationship with the United States, and I can see that it's going to continue, perhaps even better in the next couple of years during this administration of President Trump.
Well, Ambassador, I also wanted to get an update on the immigration crackdown of the second Trump administration in the U.S. Just yesterday, President Trump issued another executive order ending federal benefits for all illegal immigrants. Although it's not yet clear which benefits exactly will be cut, but I did see a report it could include infant assistance, even for pregnant women, for babies. How much will Filipinos be affected with that? And have you already seen an uptick of undocumented Filipinos seeking assistance from the Philippine Embassy in the U.S.?
Right now, we don't have the exact number, but we've had some inquiries coming from some of our Filipino kababayans, especially in California. But as I said, we're there. We're ready to assist them in every way we can, and the same advice is what we're giving. Is that if there's a legal path for you, then you should try to work on it now, and if there's none, then it's best that you leave the country voluntarily instead of being detained and processed for deportation.
Would you say, Ambassador, just in your experience relating to Pauline's question, would you say our kababayans over there in the United States have kind of calmed down or settled down a bit from the initial shock and the initial panic of the early days in the first EO?
Well, I wouldn't say they've calmed down, but I know that the fear is there. But keep telling them that this is a policy that was forthcoming, and that you just have to be prepared. I mean, everyone has rights. That's been pointed out by our volunteers from the Filipino American Lawyers Association that we've dealt with, that have come forward to try to give some good advice. But at the end of the day, what's still important is the fact that if you have a legal path, then it's best that you start working on it. And we will try to refer them to the people that can help them. And of course, even our DMV, our Department of Migrant Workers, are ready to help in every way they can.
Yes, Ambassador, I mean, you've repeatedly urged Filipinos to do it the right way in terms of acquiring legal citizenship in the U.S., but doesn't that usually take time, Ambassador? Acquiring citizenship in the U.S., I mean, what channels are available for our kababayans there?
No, well, I'm referring more of those that have been living in the United States for more than 5 years or so, working, and they probably have paid some taxes, and some of them may have not. They did not renew their work visas. Those are the ones that have a good chance of being able to stay in the United States. But those who have come in on tourist visas, then that would be a real major problem, because if you've come in the United States on a tourist visa, then you're overstaying and then you've broken the law. The likelihood of your being given a chance to stay in the United States is very, very slim. Of course, the worst is if you've come into the United States illegally completely, like those that have come in through the southern border of the United States. So that's almost impossible for you to. And needless to say, if you've committed any kind of crime and you're already been plotted, meaning to say you've been identified, that would be really a major problem.
But so far, you've not heard of any Filipinos getting caught up in the immigration raids. I believe they've done a.
There have been some, I understand, but we're not at liberty to disclose any of that. That's part of the policy of the immigration people that we've talked to in the United States. They've been helping. They've been very helpful to us, because we're not in the bad list, so to speak, and this is why it's important for us to try to work with them so that those that are caught are not given a hard time.
Which cities are there that, if you're at liberty to say, Ambassador? We know that there have been raids in New York and some in the West Coast as well.
Yeah, many, of course, where there's a large number of Filipinos, large population. These are the places that normally you can be sure there'll be some Filipinos that there are raids that are being conducted.